Today we are carrying on with the 110 build, and we've just had Storm Kieran go on here in the UK, and it reminded me how badly this 110 leaks. I mean, it's like a terrarium in there. It's just foggy windows and wet driver's seats, which reminds me, an upcoming video, I'm going to be re-trimming the front seats of the 110. I've got a great re-trim kit coming from Exmoor Trim. Very excited about that. That is coming up in a future video. But for this video, I've ordered a whole box of different rubber seals, the front windscreen, the two Alpine windows at the top, and the front vents. The old rubber seals are completely perished from the African sun, and they're just allowing moisture in, and it's just a nightmare. And I've got to sort that out because I think it's just going to get worse heading into winter. But I thought I would start with the Alpine windows at the top, because I think it's where most of the moisture is coming in. It runs along the top channel and drips onto the driver's seat. So I've had to cover them with bin bags at the moment. I mean, how embarrassing is that?
Gross. Oh, this soggy as, man.
So we've got to sort this problem out. But first, I need to move the cars around, shuffle the driveway around a little bit, because there's a new Land Rover in town on the drive here, and I'll link a video to that as well if you want to meet Yui, the new 1973 Series 3 that I've picked up.
Here's the new one.
Oh my word. Another project vehicle, very exciting, but let's get stuck into changing the rubber seals on the 110. These Alpine window rubbers have a locking seal which generally starts at the top, and with a pick you can get it out. Then you slowly remove it so you can get to the glass. Then you need to remove the glass by working the main rubber seal out, and eventually it releases the window. The old rubber is removed and you're left with a gaping hole and more than enough evidence of water damage. Before anything else, the surface area where the new rubber is going needs to be cleaned, otherwise you might just give it a reason to leak again. Along the edges of the window is a build-up of 27 years of gunk and debris, so it needs a good rub down, and even a scrape with the blade to get the stubborn bits off. I don't want any lumps and bumps causing sealing issues when it's reinstalled. This Alpine window seal kit I bought from lrparts.net comes as 2 lengths of main rubber seal and 2 lengths of locking seal. They send it just a bit longer than you need, so you'll have to trim it to size. The main rubber seal starts and joins up at the bottom, so be sure to start in the middle of the window. To help you orient the rubber, it has a slot at the bottom where it slides onto the inside window aperture, a triangular channel which faces outwards and is for the locking rubber, and finally the wider slot where the window will fit. Then it's just a case of working the rubber around nice and tightly using some sort of lubricant. I used WD-40 on this window and didn't like it, but I'll try something else on the next one. Once you get all the way around and you're ready to cut and join, remember to cut a bit longer than you think you need. You can always cut it again. I found that the window needed a lot of lubrication to slide into the rubber, and at one stage I thought it wasn't going to fit, but the rubber still wasn't seated properly yet and it just needed more persuasion. One of the things that helped the most was having a nylon pick, which I bought off of Amazon for a few bucks. I'll link it below if you're keen to do the same job. It was honestly a lifesaver, and I don't think I'd be able to do the job without it. The other thing that helped was sheer brute force. Now that the window was in, I needed to put in the locking rubber by using this tool, also from Amazon, also linked below, and good luck getting this job done without it. This time I used a bit of muck off as lube, and embarrassingly it took me a while to figure out how this tool works.
Figured it out.
So I'll save you some time if you've never done this before. You insert the tool into the gap for the locking rubber and it opens it up. You then feed the locking rubber from the front and keep pushing the tool along the slot as you go. And when it comes time to cut, the same rules apply. Cut longer than you think you need. Also, I hope you noticed that the main rubber joins at the bottom and the locking rubber joins at the top. Putting your joints on opposite sides will stop it from leaking, hopefully.
Okay, well that's the first one on, and I need a nap. Made a little mistake. I know you're supposed to cut the rubber longer so that it presses in tight together, but it wasn't quite in the corners, so I cut it longer and it was still too short, so I've got about a mil gap between the main big rubber, so I think it's going to still leak. Oh well, and I've got to do the other side. I think I've learned from my mistake, but time will tell. Right, I managed to work the rubber. I managed to work it a little bit just by pushing this way and pushing the other way. And I've closed the gap a little bit. Let's hope that it seats, but that's much better. That's down to like 1 mil, maybe a bit less.
The second window went in a lot quicker.
Yeah, next up is the windscreen. I'm properly nervous about this one because it's a flat piece of glass, and so it's got no strength to it, so it could just snap if I put it in slightly wrong. And there's a trick to this, and I've done a little bit of research, but I've never done it before. I've never put a windscreen in on my own, but it needs to be done. The rubber is shot around this windscreen, and water is getting in, and so in the spirit of Land Rover, let's have a go.
Fortunately, the windscreen wipers come off relatively easily. Then the windscreen rubber has to be cut to get the glass out.
We're in now, no turning back, unless I'm going to wear goggles. I feel like I better hurry up with this windscreen because there's some pretty funky clouds coming. And that currently is not waterproof.
And this is where the confusion started. The rubber had to fit onto the windscreen in a specific way, and that took me ages and lots of brain energy to figure out.
What goes where?
Inside, outside, 3 different channels, top, bottom, hopeless. I compared the new rubber to the old one and then realized I'd cut the old one to pieces and it no longer looked the same.
Okay, I think I've figured out how it goes on. I think. So, the orientation of the rubber, the round bulge is on the inside of the car, because this bit here will sit on the channel inside the car, and then this bit here goes to the outside and gets pressed up against the exterior of the car.
I then wrestled with the windscreen rubber for what felt like hours, and eventually I gave up. But then I remembered getting a Perseverance Award in the 6th grade and continued for many more minutes until I was victorious.
There's one more bit that I have to do to be able to get this seated on the inside of the cab, and I've seen it done with a bit of rope. You put it inside the channel and then you kind of seat it, and then you sort of pull the rope and kind of feed the rubber around. The only thing I have is an old skipping rope. Let's hope it's long enough and let's hope it works.
Shortly after this, the camera had an issue recording, so miraculously the rope is installed and the windscreen is ready to be fitted. It did end up raining, which is why I brought the vehicle in under a little cover, but everything still got soaked. Turns out windscreens are quite important.
I think just for access, I'm going to take this trim on the edges of the windscreen out. It's these bits of plastic trim that go around the inside of the windscreen. Right.
You need lots of soapy water to help the windscreen slide in.
Messy.
Oh, bloody hell.
I don't know what to do now. Do I leave it? Can I push it? I don't know. Holy crap. Almost there. Just the top to do. Oh my gosh. Have I actually done a thing? I don't want to celebrate too soon. Oh my word, I think it's in. Trying to go around the outside. Nice and straight. It's in. No gaps.
And I think you'll agree, that looks so much better. Now to fix the next problem. In case you missed it, I'll show you again. It's not supposed to do that. This vent mechanism is broken from the inside, which I can't fix now, but it does give me an opportunity to remove it and replace the rubber seals and put in new pins. Then it rained for a couple of days before I could get to the other side. The driver's side actually gave me more grief than I expected. I removed the pins and thought I'd remove the flap altogether because the other side was really easy. This turned out to be a big mistake. After undoing the two little bolts that hold it all together, cleaning it up nicely, and replacing the rubber, I had to put it back on. But first, a little rust treatment. When I wanted to get the vent flap bolted back on, I didn't realize you'd need to have no bones in your hand. And to cut a long story short, I only got one bolt back in. So now both vents are a bit faulty.
This is not fun to watch.
Well, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. The new seals are in. They're doing a great job. It's been pouring with rain all week long, and they've kept the moisture out of the car. The Alpine windows are doing great. They haven't let anything, not a drop in there, so that's nice and dry. Around the windscreen is looking really, really good. It's such a difference compared to the old perished rubber around there, and it's making the car look smarter with every little bit that we do to it. So very pleased with that. Where I kind of let the team down a little bit was the front vent flaps. The mech is still broken on the passenger side, and now there's one less bolt holding the driver's side, because I could not for the life of me get my hand in there to tighten that little bolt. It kept cross-threading, and I gave up after it got dark, and I just had enough. So that's left unfinished. But the rubber seals are in each vent, and I've replaced the pins with some lovely stainless steel bolt pins, and it looks great. But every time I cross something off of my to-do list, another one gets added on the bottom. That's just how it works with these Defenders. But I love it, and I'm hoping you do too. And if you enjoy these videos, please do consider subscribing and following along. There's lots of stuff coming with the 110 build and the Series 3 build, which I linked in the beginning of the video. Got a few bits and bobs arriving for that. So very excited. Please stay tuned, and I'll see you on the next one.